And welcome to the 2020 Digital LGBT Plus Global Business Summit. Before we get started on the session, CGLTC would like to recognise our presenting sponsor, TD Bank Group, along with all of our gold and silver sponsors and all of our sponsors for helping us to make this event happen. We would also like to recognise our translation partner, AI Media, for enabling us to deliver live caption translation in 3 languages, English, French and Spanish, and you can access those using the links below in the description box. I'd also like to draw your attention to the left-hand side of your screen to the networking and exhibit hall tabs, where over the course of the next 5 days you can connect with LGBT plus businesses, corporations and each other to help drive that power of connection. And finally, if you do like the content we are producing, please feel free to make a financial contribution using the donate link in the description box below. Thank you and enjoy your session.
Hello everyone, welcome to my session about taking your business online. My name is Drake and I live in Toronto. I'll just quickly go over the agenda for my talk today. So first we'll do a little introduction about who I am. We'll go into setting up your store, the future of commerce, what's new at Shopify, 3 tips for your e-commerce journey, support resources, and at the end, there'll be a lot of opportunity for you to ask questions. So feel free to submit your questions in the chat while I'm talking, and we'll put those all at the end. So feel free to do that. And first, let's go into a little bit about me. So as I mentioned, my name is Drake. I've been an entrepreneur ever since I can remember. In elementary school, I would make Pixo sites for my friends in exchange for really cool snacks in their lunches. I used to cut grass, shovel snow, you name it, I did it. My dad was always an entrepreneur, so I was always inspired to do that for myself. In high school, I was a photographer, taking photos for brands and artists. I then started a clothing line in college that sold in retail, online, internationally, and had a range of celebrities and artists back in the brand. I then went to start my own CrossFit gym after my rugby career with my brother, where we trained around 25 clients in our basement after getting certified as a coach, which was really fun. But then as soon as I graduated college, I started my journey at Shopify. And since then, I've had multiple other businesses and have helped thousands of other people do the same. So basically, my time at Shopify, I've done a lot of things. I've been there for almost 5 years now, which is pretty incredible. And I've taken on a handful of roles. So I started as a customer success manager, helping a lot of small businesses with starting, scaling, and managing their store. I then became an affiliate manager, looking over the top education partners and referral partnerships as well. After that, I started my own role working with influencers to inspire their audience to start a business and also help influencers start their own brand. And most recently, I now work on the international team, working on programs that help create more entrepreneurs around the world. And outside of Shopify, I do many things, but one of the most relevant to this audience is my podcast called Out and Up. This is where I interview the most ambitious entrepreneurs in the LGBT community, and we talk about their coming out stories and how they started their business. This was important to me because I had a really hard time coming out, and I wanted to help solve that problem by having real talk with inspiring entrepreneurs about how they navigated those waters. I also believe that the skills you develop from coming out, such as being isolated, resilient, authentic, are the same skills you need to be an entrepreneur. So you can find more information about my podcast, outandup.co. And if anyone wants to contribute to my blog or be a guest, send me a message. So next, we'll go into going online with Shopify. So I want to get a better understanding of the people who are attending this talk. In the chat, let me know if you're looking to bring your business online, to start a business, or if you already have a business, please send your link in the chat so other people can check you out, and we can have a discussion in the chat while I'm talking as well. So during COVID, consumers are spending more money online than in person, which is creating a huge surge in new demand as people want to buy from independent local brands. To put this in perspective, it took e-commerce as a percentage of total retail 8 years to go from 5% to 15%. And over the last 10 weeks, it's jumped from 15% to 25%. So there's a ton more demand online than ever before. and we're seeing incredible growth there. And it's obviously a good time for you to bring your business online. Just going to check the chat really quick here. Cool. So if you do have a business, share it in the chat, and people will check it out, which is also good to obviously spend your money with the community and their businesses as well. So the first step for people who are trying to go online is just to start your free trial. Shopify gives everyone a 14-day free trial, so you can always extend your trial if you need more time by calling our support team. The second thing is to choose a theme. So there are hundreds of stunning themes to pick from. There are collections of themes designed specifically for different industries, from selling photography to furniture. There's something for everyone. There's lots of free themes to pick from, but there's also premium paid themes that are created by our partner ecosystem. So if you're just getting started or you want to level up your brand, we got you. Having a good theme makes a big difference in the way you showcase your brand and products. This helps with conversion, storytelling, and being responsive on mobile devices. Next, you want to add your products and offer gift cards, which I'll go into a little bit more detail later on. You can add your products one by one or in bulk. So for example, if you're a business that has thousands of products and you're going online for the first time, a bulk import will be your best bet. So feel free to call our support team and they can help you with that, or hire an expert and they can take care of it for you. One of the great things about Shopify is it acts as a hub for all the places your products are going to be listed. So not only will your website have your products, but you can actually integrate sales channels into your store and push your products to things like Instagram, Facebook Messenger, Facebook Shop, Amazon, eBay, Pinterest, and way more. The best thing about that is that the inventory and orders are pretty much all managed in your Shopify admin, so you don't have to worry about overselling. And by having all these channels, you get to showcase your product where your customers are. So, the next thing would be setting up shipping, which is probably something if you're going online for the first time. And there's lots of ways to do this. Sorry, I just said my internet was a little laggy, so let me know if it drops or anything like that. But so you can offer local delivery, international shipping, and even buy online and pick up in store. So Shopify has also a fulfillment network to help you ship your orders faster and for less. You can do this by sending us your products, and when you get an order, we'll ship it out for you. These fulfillment networks have the most advanced robotic-driven warehouses. So there's a bunch of little robots going around picking up your orders to make things a lot faster. And this helps you, fulfill fast and affordably. But you can go to shopify.com/fulfillment for more information about that. Next, you want to set up Shopify payments or just a payment gateway in general. So you can accept credit cards. And Shopify payments lets you go from setup to selling in one click. It comes with your account. All you have to do is turn it on pretty much. So it's really easy. And you can also offer a range of other providers such as PayPal, Apple Pay, and many more. The next thing you want to do is, let people know you're open for business. You can do this by sending a message to all your customers on social media, email, and even give them a call if you have their number. You can also start doing some Facebook and Instagram and Google advertising to reach more customers around the world that would be interested in your product. This helps you reach people you once couldn't if you just had a retail location. And there's a lot of helpful resources on Shopify to do this kind of like checklist. If you just Google Shopify checklist and visit our help center, you'll be able to kind of go through one by one on what to do. Or you can just hire an expert to do all that for you. So next, we're going to go into the future of commerce. So obviously, there's a lot of things happening in today and tomorrow as well. So when you're launching a business, you want to think of the future and what you can do now to get ready for it. So the first thing I want to talk about is going global. So a few big numbers here, but like I said in the last step, you can reach way more people over the world, and that's the future. So global e-commerce sales are expected to top $4.2 trillion in the US in 2020 and reach $6.5 trillion by 2022. That's a big jump, and that's huge growth. So if you want to reach more people and make more sales, international is often a good way to go. So more than 2.1 billion shoppers are expected to purchase goods and services online by 2021. And these shoppers mostly live outside of the US. And by the end of 2020, 1.4 billion people are expected to join the world's middle class. So more people to sell to that can generally afford your products. Most of that number is coming from Asia Pacific regions. And that's also a big region that's growing by 25% year over year. So while more than half of the fastest growing e-commerce countries are coming from Asia, Latin America also has a huge opportunity for e-commerce growth, including the fastest world grower, which is Mexico. So that's really interesting for you to know, and especially if you have connections there, or if you want to dabble in an experiment, Mexico would be a good option, especially because they're not too far away from us. And localization is really important when you do these kind of expansions. And there was a study done that showed that every dollar spent on localization gave you a return of $25. So obviously that's a big investment on translating and things like that. But there's also a lot of English markets that you can enter first. And there's not only that, but things to consider is just like doing your research. It does go a long way, and you want to look at things like the market size, the product fit, and the cost of things like shipping your product. Things like language will be considered, but luckily for us, a lot of people speak English in different countries around the world. The US, the UK, Australia are definitely have a lot of overlap when it comes to Canada. Those are good places to start. You can ship from Canada if you wanted to, just to test things out. But in the future, you'd want to have like a fulfillment center in like Europe or Asia, just to shorten those times. You can also offer things like multiple currencies on your website, or build out separate stores to localize for that market. And you can also just, things like hiring a local photographer to integrate your product in local spots, and add that extra layer of localization. So the next thing I want to talk about is mobile first. So mobile sales are up year over year. This is probably no surprise to anyone on this call who's always on their phone. So by 2021, analysts estimate around 53% of all e-commerce sales will happen on mobile devices. Worldwide, mobile commerce is expected to be even more. So things like in Asia or India, where mobile commerce is really prevalent. And just because your e-commerce platform, like Shopify, offers like a really good responsive theme on mobile, mobile conversion rates are less than half than desktop. So there's other things you have to do to make sure that you're going to hit those conversion rates. And research indicates that around 53% of consumers will abandon their site if it takes longer than 3 seconds to load. So there's things you can do like site speed tests, or work with a partner to optimize that, and make sure that your site's not going to take forever to load, for example, especially if you're working heavily with mobile first apps like Instagram or TikTok to drive to your website. So this also ranges by country to country, like I mentioned before. So we see a huge mobile jump in India, for example, where people are doing like social selling and don't really have access to desktops. So that's something to consider if you're also going international. So next would be the fulfillment expectations. So, consumers are expecting like really fast shipping times, and they want same day delivery. It's becoming the norm, and things like expensive shipping will really hurt your conversion rates. So this is clear in the like 2/3 of consumers that say they abandoned the cart is because of costly shipping and delayed shipping times as well. And there's things you can do to combat this and to be more competitive. To start, you can meet the customer expectations and basically offer like a threshold. So $100, you get free shipping. So if you spend $100, you get free shipping, and this is going to be good for you as well, as it increases the average order value. So you make more money and the customer is happy. Something I mentioned earlier, but is housing your inventory in multiple locations. This is going to put your merchandise closer to the consumer, which reduces the transportation time and costs. Also, things like buy online and pick up in store options can reduce shipping costs. And data suggests that around 68% of consumers have picked up online orders in stores. So next here, we're going to go into eco-friendly. So sustainable, eco-friendly e-commerce is going mainstream here. So things like zero waste packaging, which is basically like a packaging system where all materials are used, reused, or recycled. So there's no waste to the product. Another thing would be minimalistic packaging. So reducing your package sizes and redesigning shipping cases are also shaping the future of e-commerce. It all sounds very costly, but it can prove very lucrative. And research indicates consumers are willing to pay a premium for those goods that are socially compliant. So I do want to share like 2 examples of brands that are doing this really well. I'm not sure if you know them or not, but Tom's and 10 Tree Apparel are really killing it and driving this narrative forward. So Tom's is a shoe company, and they go above and beyond. So they give $1 for every $3 made. And right now they've pivoted their fund to support organizations on the front lines of COVID-19. 10 Tree Apparel, it has sustainably sourced fabrics for zero waste future, and they plant 10 trees for every item sold. So to date, they've actually planted over 35 million trees, which is pretty wild and impressive, and will make you feel good as a business owner that you're giving back to the environment as well. Next here, we have voice recognition. So this is, I was going to put like VR and AR and things like that, but I think that's still a little ways out. But voice is right here, right now. And almost 35% of all US households have at least one speaker in their house, and many of them have multiple. So it's not surprising that 26% of consumers have made a purchase on their smart speaker in 2019. So, this is a new path of purchase for these consumers and something for you to be mindful of. In response, brands are optimizing search to include snippets because 40% of voice results are actually currently pulled from search engine. So things like Google or Bing, and featured snippets, at least now, is one way to win the voice wars. You can also do things like create an Alexa skill, which is a program command like Alexa, ask Umbrella Corporation what kind of umbrellas are available, or Alexa, check out. This assistant can search your store and for your products and even make voice-powered purchases. And lastly, I just want to mention that having a strong brand will pay massive dividends in the world of voice. If your customer knows who you are, they can just directly ask Alexa or Google Home or whatever for your brand specifically without having to, battle those search results on like top eco products. They'll just ask for Tom's, for example. Cool. I'm just checking out the chat here. Awesome. Keep it going, guys. The next thing I want to talk about is what's next for Shopify, or what's new at Shopify. So there's a lot that's happening with us and things that we're doing to help small businesses right now during obviously a pretty wild time for a lot of you. So just want to mention a few. Just going to load this next slide. Perfect. So when COVID hit, Shopify shipped a handful of products really fast to help businesses that are affected. And I want to talk about 5 of them that I think are going to be the most relevant for you. So first one is merchant tipping. So you can actually give your customers a way to tip a percentage of the total amount at checkout, or you can customize the experience to offer a range of tipping options, from collecting donations, thanking your delivery drivers, and more. So that's something that now you can add to your checkout flow, which is really cool and something I think will help a lot of people. The next would be that we enable gift cards on every single Shopify plan forever. So this, gives communities another way to support small businesses. And pretty much we hope this helps alleviate some of the cash flow constraints during this time. Before, it was only available on our advanced plan. So now it's on our basic and our Shopify plan as well. The other thing that's really cool for any restaurants in the house is that we launched, or food and beverage in general, is that we launched Express theme, which is basically a free Shopify theme designed specifically for restaurants to launch quickly their online store. So together with our tipping and local fulfillment options, pretty much we hope to make it easy as possible for these businesses to shift their sales online that may traditionally never have been online or selling things online. I mentioned this before, but a new feature that we launched like almost immediately was buying online and picking up in store. So this is actually like curbside pickup, so you don't have to touch anything. And it's a new feature to get orders to customers safely and to help save on shipping. So you can set up the option for customers to pick up on the online orders in your retail store, curbside, or really any location that you choose. The next is Shopify Capital, which is now available in Canada. Before it was just the US. So this is a huge shift, and this is something we did right off the bat of COVID. We also launched in the UK as well. But in uncertain times, some financial support can go a long way. And Shopify Capital is here with you to make to give you quick access to funds. You can get capital based on your history with Shopify, looking at your sales, for example, and skip lengthy application processes with banks, for example. You basically, how it works is you return the funding as a percentage of your sales with payments that flex to fit your business. So this is super cool. And I think we've donated or funded over almost $1 billion worth of funding. So those funds can go from anywhere from $5K to $100K, depending on the history with Shopify and what you need. The next is Shop. So Shop is actually really cool, and I use it all the time. It's for consumers. So it's not necessarily for you to use, but it's for the people who are shopping with you to use. And it's a free app, and it integrates a lot of our best products as Arrive, so the real-time tracking, and Shopify Pay, which makes it extremely easy to buy anything with one click, pretty much. So a couple features for that would be it's trusted by 30 million shoppers. So it's kind of like an online marketplace through an app on your phone, both on Android and Apple. And we see already that it's 4 times faster checkout. We see a lift in conversion by 18% for returning customers. And this also is a huge benefit to you because it reduces the support debt because we offer real-time tracking. So you're not going to get those emails asking where the orders are. And something else that's really cool, and back to my earlier point, is that Shopify actually offsets the carbon for eligible orders. And basically, there's a ton of other products launches that I could have talked about, but I thought those were really good for this talk. I've listed a couple there, and if you are curious about other things we're doing and launching, you can just Google Shopify announcements or visit that link that I put in the slide here. Cool. So the next section is 3 tips for your e-commerce journey. And the first one I want to talk about for anyone listening, and even just for getting started, is adding low-risk products. There's kind of 3 ways you can do that. And the first one is digital products. So it's really easy. You just download a Shopify digital downloads app, which is free. And then you can offer all these digital products on your store. And it's easy to distribute. There's no shipping or packaging involved. It's way more sustainable, and it can be replicated 1,000, 1,000,000 times. And it's often simpler to create. So with little more than one or a few devices, any person is capable of making a digital product worthy of sharing or selling. There's no physical materials, factories, or staff required, just a computer and a sprinkle of passion and drive for and basically some time to put together. So some examples would be digital products that can range from like ebooks, photography, video, courses, documents, and more. This can also act as a good grab for email marketing. So you can say, hey, here's a free guide. Just obviously put your email in, and that way you can get a bigger list of emails, which is pretty sweet for the future of your launches. The next one is print on demand. So for those of you who don't know, print on demand is a process in which products are not printed until they receive an order, which is really amazing and obviously really low risk. Once an order is made, the print house will print that order and ship it out on your behalf. And there's a massive range of products that you can print your logo on, or even just graphics. For example, t-shirt designs, posters, cell phone cases, and the list goes on. A big perk is that you can test out so many different designs and products with your customers without having to buy a bunch of inventory. So obviously this is very low risk because you don't have to buy any inventory up front, and you also save time because you don't have to take care of shipping the products out. The margins are a little bit higher, so that's something to be mindful of. But if the product works and you sell a lot of it, you can always go the traditional way and buy a bulk amount to lower the cost. And my favorite print-on-demand company is called Printful. which is a really easy app that integrates into Shopify. So you can basically add hundreds of new products in a short amount of time to your store. Drop shipping is similar to print on demand in that it's low risk and doesn't involve housing inventory or shipping products, but it differs because it's not a printing on like a blank product, for example. Rather, drop shipping allows you to pick from thousands of products that are from existing businesses to add to your store. So popular drop shipping items can be fitness watches, Bluetooth speakers, teeth whitening kits, working out gear, dog toys, teas, cameras, yoga mats, bags, and way more. For example, you can find jewelry from a drop shipper to add to your store, and they would sell it to you for about $2 to $3, and you can sell it up to $20 to $30. So the margins are actually quite high. And most of these suppliers are coming from Asia, but a handful are located in North America that you can work with. Shopify does have an app called Orbolo, which makes it really easy for you to add these products to your store and search for them as well. And once you get an order, the retailer will ship the product out for you. So those are a couple ideas. If you're just getting started, or if you're going online and you want to add more products, those are a couple ways to do that. So next, we're going to talk about a big tip is monthly experiments. So this talk is probably giving you a ton of ideas that you want to incorporate into your business. And with that, I want to share a monthly experiment framework with you. It's easy to get overwhelmed with ideas to pick from, test, and see if it works. But this allows you to do it in a short amount of time and help you understand where to go next. So this is actually what I use in my day-to-day at Shopify and in my business. 20% of my time is donated to these monthly experiments. And that's a good kind of framework for you in your business is 80% what's working and kind of donate 20% of your time to new things. And this is a good way to test them out. And this was actually going to help you with your test and learn mindset and find new ways to scale your business. This also allows you to use a timeline to move fast and get results and see if you should 10x the experiment or move on to the next idea. So basically, it looks the same for me pretty much every time. You get a data insight, you have your experiment idea, and what you're going to kind of estimate your results are going to be. And that's your framework. I usually only put like a one-pager together as far as what I'm going to do and the costs and things like that. And that's how it goes. So it's important to use like a narrow question to set it up in the way that you can track the results so you can stay focused and measure the results against other experiments. For example, instead of using data that shows the ROI of social media, you can then focus on one platform and use data that shows that TikTok, for example, is the fastest growing platform and create a test around that. So the idea could be posting 20 videos in 30 days to create a following and to drive new leads. And your estimated results could be 500 new followers and 25 new sales, for example. And then you have 30 days to do it. And then you're going to get a ton of learnings and you can compare that to other experiments as well. So the next one is leverage free education. So I do this all the time. I spend about an hour a day looking at free education online for my own businesses, especially when I'm dabbling in a new industry, or even for my job at Shopify as well. So this is going to help you stay innovative and test new strategies that you can help scale your business or create a better customer experience. So one of the biggest tools I recommend is Shopify Compass, which is a new education portal that is free and is packed with courses. I think there's over 25 of them from industry leaders on topics from making money on Instagram to growing your holiday sales. I highly recommend you taking advantage of these free courses. And there's also workshops as well. You can visit shopifycompass.com to learn more about that and to kind of browse through the different courses that we have for free. The Shopify blog has thousands of content pieces to help you start, manage, and scale your business. There's in-depth blog posts on pretty much everything I've mentioned in this talk and more. And you can subscribe to that to get new blog posts or even go through the archive. Sometimes when I have like a topic I want to learn more about, I'll just go into the Shopify blog and just use the search function to just see if there's a blog post on the topic that I'm looking to learn more about. The last one is to get a mentor. So this has been extremely helpful for me in my path, in my career. And perhaps the most obvious benefit to finding a business mentor is that you can learn from their previous mistakes and success. Your mentor doesn't need to have experience in your particular industry, though it definitely helps, so that you can maximize your opportunities to leverage like key relationships. This is also important for them, not only to share learnings, but to connect you with other people from getting like VC funding, for example, or supply chain management, or anything along those lines. So the next section is going to be some resources. So if you're going online, it's going to take a lot of time and effort. And if someone who's never done it before, I'd really wanted to share some resources with you. Or if you already have an online store, or if you're looking just to start a store in general with no experience, these resources are going to be really helpful for you. And I've mentioned them kind of throughout the talk here, but Shopify does have 24/7 support. So you can give us a call at 3 a.m. on Christmas when you're doing your flash sale, for example, or anytime really. There's phone, there's chat, there's email. There's a ton of help docs. So we have a help center that has literally a really in-depth breakdown on step-to-step on how to do anything on the Shopify side of things. Or you can just send us a tweet. We're pretty active on there if you do follow Shopify on Twitter. We also have a pretty big community with over 600,000 members in this community ready to discuss and share insights. So you can just search Shopify community support and you'll see like the threads there. Next is the experts marketplace, which is a place that you can hire trusted experts to build your business. From marketing to store setup, you can find agencies and freelancers to get the job done. So Shopify Capital, once again, in uncertain times, some financial support can go a long way. And basically, it's a quick and easy way to access funds. And you can also visit shopify.com/COVID-19 to see like what we're doing in response to everything that's happening and how we're supporting small businesses. You can also find me on LinkedIn or Instagram if you want to chat after this talk. I'm definitely happy to connect. So as I catch my breath, as I whip through that, let's go through some questions here. Cool. So let me just fix my screen. And if I don't get to your question, feel free to send me a message on LinkedIn, for example. I'm happy to go through them there. So I'm just opening up the chat for the first time. Cool, somebody's offering training. That's amazing. So question here, any stats on success of service-based businesses adding product offerings to help expand online and shift to online? Absolutely. I don't have any specific stats, but I did talk about it here that, like adding things like your digital downloads or print-on-demand shirts or drop shipping, whatever the case may be, is going to be really helpful, as well as things like gift cards if you're a service-based and you can't be person-to-person depending on the service that you offer. People can pre-book, for example, and help you with cash flow. Something else that I'm seeing on Shopify is a lot of artists can't do their concerts or their shows anymore. So they're doing a lot of live streams. And we've seen a couple people use the digital download kind of product feature to sell tickets to a show. And you can basically just use an app called Locksmith, which will lock a page unless you have the key to it, which when you buy the ticket, you get the key. And then you get access to a private live stream, for example. So you can live stream videos, you can offer a bunch of documents and everything else I mentioned there as well. So yeah, another question about provide services and not products. Definitely, I think products is like our bread and butter for sure. But I think we're seeing a ton more services come online. For example, if you have a barbershop and you're not selling anything online, there's a ton of things you can do to sell online and add products. So anything you're offering in store, from hair products to different experiences in store, it'll allow you to capture those emails, retarget, and attract new customers, and offer other products and add-ons versus just like a standalone website with your hours, for example. So another question here, what would be the key advantage to using Shopify for digital products versus using your own website? So I would just say that you can, everything I mentioned before. So a big one would be our channels. So by listing it on Shopify, you can actually push your products into a ton of different marketplaces. Things like you can sell on Instagram, you can sell on Facebook, you can sell on Pinterest, you can sell on Facebook Messenger, and all those sales are going to be like tracked in your Shopify admin. The second big piece of that is that if digital downloads is your main business, you can add a ton of other products and really grow your e-commerce strategy. But if you're just selling like a digital course, for example, it's a little challenging just to have everything on Shopify. So it basically depends on the maturity and like the scale of the business you're trying to launch. So I would just do a little bit more research, or even call our support team to kind of dig into that a little bit more. Just checking the time here. Cool. Is there a minimum order for print on demand? No. So the last week I uploaded, I was helping a friend start a Shopify store, and they had a logo, and we put it on over 500 products in an hour. So things like t-shirts, beanbags, backpacks, socks, cell phone cases, even jewelry and things like that, all through Printful is the one example I listed before. And there's no minimum order. So basically, if somebody orders one, you click fulfill, and then Printful will see that you got an order, and they'll print that one product for you and ship it out. So pretty sweet, very low risk, and you don't have to order inventory. When I used to have my clothing line, I used to order like 1,000 t-shirts and have them in my bedroom, and then have to ship them out and manage that inventory, and that was a nightmare. So print on demand is definitely like a good way to get started. I'm just gonna keep looking through these questions. Thanks, Megan. Cool. So there's a question here about subscription-based businesses, for example, online coach and build or regular monthly. So right now there's a bunch of Shopify apps that allow you to do subscription and bill for subscriptions. And I totally think that makes a lot of sense. For like coaching, yes, you can do that, or even just like really any product. One of the biggest benefits for a subscription-based business is that you can forecast a lot of your revenue. So if you have 100 people on your subscription that are planning to get a product next month because they've subscribed and they've already put in their credit card information, you can actually have like a baseline forecast of how much revenue you're going to make next month. So there's a ton of different benefits, and there's a lot of different apps and different ways you can integrate that into your Shopify store and offer both like one-time purchase and subscription. And you see this like being very popular in a lot of like direct-to-consumer brands, and making the product at a discount so that they sign up for subscription, so that they continue, which obviously makes a much higher long-term customer base. So, and there's also like a ton of blogs on that as well. If you just search through Shopify, I just want to mention. Shopify have any stats on sales for various industries, art sales, clothing sales? I don't know any about specific stats off the top of my head, but art and clothing are some of the biggest verticals on Shopify, selling millions of dollars for sure. And getting started is really cool too. There's Shopify is built for the small business owner that's looking to make their first sale to somebody who's made 100,000 sales. We have an enterprise solution for those bigger merchants. Art and clothing are a piece of every single plan type. Is Printful Canadian? It's not. It's in US, and it also I think has fulfillment in Europe, and I think they're expanding to Asia soon. Cool. Let's go to the next one. So the names of the apps are recurring billing, for example, is one of them off the top of my head. But if you just go to the Shopify App Store and type in subscription, you'll see a list of the apps that are listed there. And if you do want like help on like which ones to pick, give our support team a call, and they'll be able to walk you through and recommend different apps to use. And just so you know, like in our App Store, a lot of them are free. or offer a free trial, and then some of them are paid. So I think specifically for the subscription ones, it is like a paid fee based off per sale or per month. It depends on the app that you use. I want to know more about the podcast. Okay, cool. Love this question. So yeah, Out and Up recently just launched on YouTube. So at the start of the podcast, everything was just audio only. And I found that, with some of these coming out stories, it's very emotional, and I wanted to kind of capture and share that through video. And I leveled up my production and went to a studio to do that. So it's basically like a side project that I've been doing for, I think, about a year now. So it's not very consistent, but like I do post, I have around 7 or 8 episodes out now, and I have 4 that are pre-recorded that I'm gonna be launching in the next month or so. And it's really good for me to get more empathy with other entrepreneurs and their coming out stories, especially what I've learned with the different cultures that have different experiences, and the impact of like religion, for example, has a huge impact on the way you come out and that your family supports you, which is also really good for, allies to learn from. So I've had a lot of feedback from some of my straight friends that basically are like mind blown from the different avenues that we have to navigate that they would have never had to think about for being straight, for example. And if you want to learn more about the podcast, check out outandup.co. Cool. That's about it for the questions. Let me just skim through these again. So there's a question about domains here. Cool. We're just wrapping up too here, by the way. So there's a question about domains like .lgbt or the new .gay, gay. So that's good. Like right now I have .co, which is an international domain that's cheaper and more available than .com, for example. I think my .com, outandup.com is like $10,000 per purchase, which obviously I'm not going to do. .com I think is like the king, and everyone's used to typing it. But I do think like these new domains are really exciting because it offers like a range of new availability for different names. And it also allows the customer or person to know what you represent as far as like LGBT, for example. So I think it's worth testing, but it's also worth having multiple domains. And with Shopify, you can point as many domains to your store as much as possible. So you can have your primary domain, which could be outandup.co. And then I can have a range of different misspelled domains, for example, or other .ca that you can redirect to your .co. Domains is kind of like a complex kind of topic, but once again, call our support team, and they're experts in domains and setting it up. So you can get some good advice there. And the Shopify blog also has a ton of resources on that. So I think I have one more question in the time here. Cool. I think I've gone through all of them. I'm just double checking here. Okay, cool. That's about it for the questions. I don't see any new ones, so I'm going to end it there. Pretty much a minute to spare. Thanks everyone for joining and listening to my talk. Definitely a speedy talker when I'm doing public speaking, so hopefully you caught all that, but feel free to send me a note afterwards if you have other things that you want to deep dive into. And like I said, you can find me on LinkedIn or Instagram. Thanks everyone, and have a great day.